Alabama's set to face Florida State this weekend for its season opener, and they have the perfect scout team quarterback to replicate what it is that Tommy Castellanos does well. Let's talk about it. What is up, everybody? Clint Lamb with A to Z Sports and Cover Crimson. So Alabama's got Florida State coming up in its season opener, road matchup in Tallahassee, already going to be a tough, hostile environment. But Alabama's defense has a challenge ahead of it as well in trying to keep quarterback Tommy Castellanos contained. Everybody who is familiar with this guy's game, they understand he's one of the better running quarterbacks and has been for the last couple of years while playing for Boston College. So in 2 seasons, he combined for 1,300 plus yards and 14 touchdowns while also being a capable passer. But the biggest weapon that he's going to bring to this Gus Malzahn offense is his legs. And so Alabama, they had some issues or some trouble dealing with dual threat quarterbacks a season ago. So will that continue or carry over into the 2025 season? We really don't know. But they need to do the best possible job that they can as far as keeping or limiting what he's able to do on the ground. And so the best thing you can do is from a preparation standpoint is, at least try to replicate that as good as you possibly can. It is difficult when things go live on a Saturday or on a Sunday in the NFL. It is way different than anything you're going to see in practice. But what I love is that Alabama does have the perfect practice squad candidate to replicate, at least to some degree, what it is that Tommy Castellanos brings to the table. And that's former 5-star athlete Jaylen Mbakwe. Now, everyone knows this was a 5-star athlete coming out of high school, out of Clay Chalkville, played cornerback his first season in Alabama, and has since made the transition to wide receiver. But according to Deontay Lawson, and then later confirmed by Ryan Williams, Jaylen Mbakwe has been giving the defense some scout team reps at quarterback. And that's absolutely perfect when you think about it. Jaylen Mbakwe is easily one of the best athletes, doesn't matter the position, on Alabama's entire roster. And with his background as a former high school quarterback, he does have some throwing ability where he can not only replicate the escapability, the maneuvering around in the pocket, the eluding pressure, creating outside of the pocket, making sure that he's keeping the defense honest. He can do all of those things for you. And that is going to be very important as far as the preparations for Florida State. Now, one of the things that can be difficult when you're trying to do that is, can you get both the rushing side of things, but also get a guy who is a capable passer? And while I don't think Jaylen Mbakwe is near to the same degree as Tommy Castellanos as far as the ability to throw the football, I think between the typical scout team and what you're going to be able to get or replicate as far as throwing the football with those guys, on top of Jaylen Mbakwe providing that rushing ability and kind of making sure that the defense understands how quickly those guys can get away from you, I think that's simulating things quite well and should have Alabama as prepared as they possibly can be going into Saturday's matchup. But the other element of this that we probably need to be talking about more is if Jaylen Mbakwe is spending time working as a scout team quarterback, what is he getting as far as the preparation at wide receiver for Florida State? I mean, the more time that you're spending down there with a starting defense, the less time you're going to have as far as preparing to play your own position in a season opener. But at the same time, that's not overly surprising. I want you to think about this for a second. You've got not only the starting trio of wide receivers in Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, and Jeremy Bernard, but you've got a slew of other guys, Rico Scott, Jalen Hale, Cole Adams, potentially a Latsier Brooks, maybe a Derek Meadows. Not only do you have the guys at the front, but you've also got multiple guys who are not only going to be rotating in, but if you start suffering an injury or two, you don't have to immediately work to a guy like Jaylen Mbakwe. And so not only do you have your starting unit covered, but you've also got your depth and your rotation. And so, I do think Jaylen Mbakwe is going to make an impact on special teams. I do think he's continuing to grow as far as being a receiver, and I don't want fans writing him off yet. But what this does, or having him do this in practice, I think it's fun. I don't think it's going to, be to his detriment in the long term. I don't think it's going to, really hurt as far as, what Alabama has available against Florida State. Like if they had to work to Jaylen Mbakwe, he will get reps at wide receiver. There will be some level of preparation, but it just probably won't be to the extent of some of these other guys. But you're also getting that scout team presence that's really helping prepare your defense. And that's something else that I love that Ron Williams brought up when he was asked about it. And that was the fact that he said, hey, he's really proud of the guys in that locker room. Like this whole put the team first and being willing to kind of take a back seat or take a step back as far as helping in preparations, as far as doing what's best for the team rather than necessarily maybe what's best for you. He said this entire team has that mentality, and he's very proud of the way that they've approached this offseason and the way they continue to prepare for Florida State in the season opener. So, it doesn't matter if it's from the defense's perspective. I think this is super beneficial. I think this is beneficial as far as the team mentality and everything else, but also Alabama isn't putting itself in any sort of disadvantage, in my opinion, by having Jaylen Mbakwe do this. So I love it overall. Think it's going to make a huge difference on Saturday.